Hello, it's Lisa with Soulshine. And if you joined me last week, you know that I started an initiative, a year-long initiative into a deep dive into love and loving myself better and loving others better. And this month I'm doing patience. I've broken it up into the attributes of love found in 1 Corinthians because I figured that was the best source I could find. And last week I started patience, and I started even deeper, and I did patience with self first. And this week I'm approaching patience with others, which I seem to have the toughest time with. But I did, before I jumped in, I do want to give a little honesty update as far as how last week went. And if you just want to jump right into the lesson, you can move forward to this little time here. But just for a couple minutes, I wanted to give a little truth bomb and say, last week I filmed the Patience with Self video, and immediately afterwards I jumped into making dinner for my family while I was also trying to edit the video at the same time. And I was hungry, and I seriously got impatient with myself, and I ended up just taking my watch off and saying, I can't do any of this. So, lesson learned, plan a meal so that you're not deciding at 5 o'clock what I'm gonna be making for my family, and don't be so hungry when you're trying to do important things. So, and also I shouldn't have been multitasking. I should have just been making dinner and not trying to brown the meat and download an editing app, because then I ended up picking an editing app video that was taught by like an 8-year-old, and I felt really, really stupid. So lots of lessons learned last week. I'm clearly not perfect, and I'm a work in progress here, which is why I'm doing this deep dive. So hopefully you'll learn something along with me. But comment below and let me know how your first week went. If you're wearing the watch, if it helped you remember to be more patient with yourself and whatnot. So if you missed last week's video, I'm going to link it here as well so you can catch up that way. But this week I'm going to dive into patience with others. And what I've learned is the times that I'm most impatient with others is when they are very different from me. And that sounds absolutely awful. But I've found that I want people to be, in order to have good conversations and things like that, I feel like I need to understand why they think the way that they think, and maybe fix them or change the way that they think. And in my age, my mid-40s, I've thankfully learned that I can neither fix or try to fix or successfully fix anyone, not even myself. Sometimes that's a bigger battle. But I've also learned that everyone is on their own journey. Some people are just starting to figure themselves out, and other people are a little bit more self-aware. Some people are a few steps ahead of me, and some people are a few steps behind me, but there's no room for judgment there because I've certainly been in all phases. So I can't judge, and I just kind of have to let the freedom fall into knowing that somebody else is going to work on that, not me. Somebody higher up, somebody more powerful than any of us. So hopefully that makes sense, and know that I'm still trying to work on that. But there are personality types that totally get under my skin, and I'm going to give 2 tricks that I've learned very recently on how to deal with those kind of people. For me, my triggers are people that are just super mean, super selfish, know-it-alls, and aren't flexible at all in learning something new. They feel like they know everything and don't want to see anyone else's opinion, and are sure to tell you that, and it just gets under my skin. And so what I've learned is there's a couple little ways and little tricks that I can navigate those conversations without feeling like I need to fix. One, my 18-year-old daughter taught me. The first one was as a soundboard. So you picture a soundboard with lots of little pre-programmed keys with different responses. And one of which is, not nearly as patronizing as I just did it, but, or another one would be, that's interesting. Or just, oh. And then she also told me I need to add a space bar, which means nothing. You say nothing, which cracked me up, but it's so good to just not feel like I need to say anything to try and fix somebody else when I'm being impatient with them. The other trick, the second trick, I learned through meditation. So I try and meditate every morning, and I'm not good at it at all. I have such a squirrel brain, and my brain is constantly jumping into different distracted to-do lists and all kinds of things. But one of the visualizations I learned a while ago is to picture yourself kind of distanced from some traffic, and the traffic would come by and pass by and keep going. And you don't need to just jump into the traffic and interact with the traffic. You just kind of can sit back and watch it come along and pass by and eventually get so far out of your frame of view that you can't see it anymore. And the same thing can happen with your busy thoughts as well as your interactions with people. So if there's somebody that you interact with, either at work or in family or friends, that gets under your skin or says comments to instigate you or just naturally get under your skin and you become impatient with them, you can kind of just notice it's being said, and then notice it go by and notice it go away and not interact, into your little happy bubble. So I use both of those tricks intermittently, and they both seem to help me. So hopefully they'll help you too now. But back to one of the things I did want to mention on toxic people is that you are going to run into toxic people, whether in your family or your friend circle or whatnot. And I think it's okay not to hang out with toxic people. I think you can distance yourself for a while until you mature, until you're able to say no successfully. Or also so you don't form your identity on those people. So I know for me, years ago, I would hang out with people to form my identity. Like, I'm cool because I hang out with them, or I'm accepted because I'm in that friend group. And I'm pretty cool as I am. Now, I only learned that mid-40s. I wish I'd learned that when I was 18. But as silly as I am, I'm still cool and accepted all by myself. So I don't need to hang out with people to make me feel cool and accepted. So if you have a toxic group of either friends or family members, I think it's okay to give yourself some distance and not hang out with them every single day. If they live under your roof, that's a whole different story, but that's another topic altogether. But you're just called to love them regardless of where they are in their journey, and know that you don't have to interact with them every single day, that you can just kind of, like I mentioned with the traffic, you can just kind of watch it come about and watch it go away and not feel like you need to fix or adjust or correct. One of the things I mentioned in last week's video is that the Bible says to love others as you love yourself, and I think it's really nearly impossible to love others well if you don't love yourself first, which is why I'm doing this whole initiative. But it also doesn't say to love only those people that are the same as you, and it also doesn't say fix them first and then you can love them. That's just silly. We wouldn't love anybody. We would love such a small amount of people. It would be ridiculous. So it says to love other people as you love yourself. So that's pretty much everybody, but it's really, really hard, which is why I'm doing this study. So I can only love other people better once I realize that I am not in control and I don't have to fix every single person, but more importantly, that somebody else bigger and more powerful than me is in charge of controlling and fixing and all that stuff. So I can kind of feel liberated and free that I don't have to be in charge of all that hard, heavy lifting. And regardless of where they are in their journey, like I said earlier, they can be in the beginning or the end or a couple steps ahead or a couple steps behind. Just knowing that they are trying to do the best version that they are aware of in that moment, and I'm doing the same. But know that when you are tapped out of love, that there's always a never-ending resource you just need to tap back into and fill yourself back up, because you really can't help anybody else well if you are also tapped out on your own love. So my dear friend Karima had mentioned that you can only help people when your own cup is full, and they will be able to feast from the saucer that the cup sits in, and the cup is constantly getting filled, but there's enough for them to be satisfied from from your extra, and you can't really have extra unless you're taking care of yourself well first. So this week I wore my watch like I said I was. I did take it off for that brief moment just to like have a little hissy fit, but I put it back on, and I love that you guys are coming up to me and letting me know that you're wearing your watch too, and you're trying to use it as a reference. Mine doesn't work, even though I keep looking at it thinking that it's gonna work, but it doesn't work. It's just an image, just a little point of reference that I can use to remind myself to be patient with myself. And this week I'm also gonna use it to remind myself to be patient with others. And that I'm free from having to fix them, that I can just notice something about them and hopefully find at least one good thing about them that I appreciate and I'm grateful for, and then just let the rest go until it's out of my vision, my line of sight. And just let it pass. Or use your soundboard or your space bar, which is no comment at all. Or remove yourself from the situation and let yourself get filled back up. Do something that makes you happy and makes you joyful, and then return to the situation. So hopefully that gives you some arsenal, some ideas of things you can add to your tool belt when you're interacting with people this week and in the coming weeks that you find yourself being impatient with. And if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you like you're picking up when I'm laying down, then hit the subscribe button and that cute little bell so that you can be notified when I add a new video. I'm gonna try and do these each Monday, and every day I upload my morning tea with me Instagram story video, so you can get an even quicker dose of a 3-minute upgrade of morning uplift. So I'm glad to be able to do this with you. I'm learning just along with you. So comment and let me know how you're doing. I love to hear how you gals are doing and what you're thinking and what you're finding along the way. So until next week, know that I'm sending you much love, and I hope that you have a most marvelous day. Love you much. Mwah, mwah, mwah.